لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So I'm not just talking to myself. Alhamdulillah, as you know, this society, the function of the society is to have funds available for anyone who passes away, to have their funeral arrangements taken care of. It's one less thing that a person has to worry about during life. And it's not the only society. My late father, rahimahullah, was also a member, founding member of another society which was related to his village. And I was talking to Uncle Javed before, when did this society begin? He said approximately in the 70s. So you're running almost 50 years now. And I was thinking about that period, in the 70s, 50 years ago. There must have been a conversation that happened between a few people that look, people are passing away, people are struggling. We should really, as a community, this is called Fard Kifaya. Fard Kifaya is a communal obligation. It's the community's responsibility. So there must have been a conversation where they said, look, it's a good idea, why don't we get together? Everyone puts in money, and if someone passes away, we can take care of their burial costs. Fantastic idea. Whoever came up with that idea, those original people, as long as the society runs, they will get the reward of every single person who gets buried, according to Islamic law. You see, and this is the legacy of our tradition, where people vie to do something good for other people. They could have just had an amazing life. If you think of, when I used to speak to my father, my uncles, I know this is not just something specific to me, but they would tell stories of how they came, what life was like when they were young, what difficulties they went through, the trials they went through, and the circumstances that led them to come to this country. And it's amazing. If from my generation, who were born, brought up here, it's actually mind-blowing what these people achieved. These people came from a third world country, very little money, didn't know the language, didn't know the culture, faced umpteen struggles, had to start right at the bottom, okay, and work their way up. Had to deal with racism, had to deal with being far away from their parents. People left their relatives. We leave our parents for a short period, we start missing them. People left them for years. And back in those days, there was no FaceTime. You couldn't keep in touch. You couldn't even see what they looked like. My mamu actually just passed away very recently. And I met him just before he went to Pakistan after Eid. And he had a picture of his mother, his late mother, and he was showing my mum. And he was saying, do you recognize this person? My mum was only 8 years old when her mother passed away, and she couldn't recognize. She goes, I was so young that I can't even remember this. These are things, these are traumas that we never went through. We never had these difficulties, but yet they left all these things. They came here. They could have come here and thought, right, well, I can just enjoy myself. I can get a good job, a nice house. I'll go on holiday every year. I'll enjoy myself. Many of my generation, that's what we do. We have got good jobs. We work. We take a couple of days off in the week. We don't work every day. We go on holiday every year. We like to enjoy ourselves. Yet they didn't do that. My memory of my father was somebody who worked 7 days a week. 7 days a week in a restaurant. He used to come home at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep. In the morning, he would wake up to take me to school, right? That's my memory of my father, every single day. And again, he could have had 2 days off, like people have now, enjoyed himself, but he didn't. He knew where he came from, but he had a vision, he had a mission, that I'm going to do something with this life that Allah's given me, the short time I've got. And not only am I going to build a better future for myself and for my family, I'm going to build a better future for the people I left behind. And we know stories of people who, they not only came here with the burden of them, the difficulties they had themselves in establishing themselves, they not only did that, they didn't forget the people back home. They were supporting their families here and there. They were marrying off families back home, their relatives. This is sacrifice. This is something that I don't see in my generation. In my generation, yes, we help, we do a little bit, but if it's too much, brother, come on, I've got a life to live. I've not got time for this. But if you look at the legacy our elders left behind, so when I go, and I tried to go on a Jummah to my father's grave in Cathcart, and as you know, this is a burial society, you know that we're on to our third graveyard now. In fact, my father once took me to the first ever graveyard, and if you're of my generation, ask one of the elders to take you one day. And I remember he took me, and he went through every grave. He said, this person came in this time, he did this person did this person did this. This is our history. This is our history, right? This person did this, and then in his style, after telling about 50 people, he goes, "Didn't you you remember?" I was like, it's a lot of information to take in. I wish we had cameras back then, we could have filmed these things. But the thing is, he took me there. He said, look, this is our history. You should know this. You should know this, and you should be able to pass it on. So we're on to our third graveyard, and that's, as you know, it's filling very fast, and we'll need more and more land. And this is the thing, death is one of those things that's going to come to all of us. And it's not something which is just for people in their 70s or 80s or 90s. And now, in recent years, especially in Glasgow, there's been so many deaths of people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. We're constantly getting text messages telling us this person's passed away, this person's passed. Not only is there, you get text messages, it's like, come early because there's 3 janazas to it, or there's 4 janazas to it, or there's 2 janazas in this masjid, another janaza in another masjid. There was one day, it was four janazas in total, 4 people were getting buried on the same day. And this is a thing that is going to happen to all of us. But going back to, so when I go to my father's grave, and I give my salams and I read whatever I have to, when I'm standing there, I think of the person who's lying there, what he did for me. Whatever I have, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, achieved today, I could not have achieved it without his sacrifices. My life has been built on his sacrifices. And this is our tradition. Our tradition is about building and trying to leave the world in a better place than you found it. And then the next generation comes and builds from where the last generation left off. Then the next generation comes and builds. Right? We build from where others left off. We don't say, no, they didn't understand anything, we'll start all over again, we've been enlightened. We're not like that. We're like, no, where did we reach? Okay, we've got there, now we need to build on that. And my feeling now, I'm in my 40s, I'm not young anymore, although they say we need a young imam, so we'll call you in. I don't know how long that's going to last. But we're all getting older, right? Time is ticking. I was in a closed meeting a couple of days ago with a very big scholar, and he was talking about the problems in the Middle East. They've got problems with apostasy now. There's people leaving Islam in Muslim countries like Saudi, some countries like Egypt. There's an atheist movement, right? One day I went to the central mosque to there was a janazah I had to attend. I got there, and someone was doing wudu and said, listen, brothers, his wife's left him, he's going to contact you, he's very, very worried and very, he's got a lot of issues. I said, okay, that's fine, and then I dealt with him later on. I did wudu, I got out of the wudu place, and another guy stopped me. He was about to cry, so I could see he was distressed. I said, what's wrong? He goes, I need to speak to you. I said, okay, well, I'll give you my email, we'll arrange an appointment. I said, what's the problem? He goes, my son's left Islam. He's 20 years old, he's left Islam, I don't know what to do, right? I said, okay, inshallah, we'll email me and we'll discuss it later. I get to the graveyard, and it was somebody that I was related to, so I was there. I was going to do the dua. Waiting to be buried, there's another person, another uncle. I want to say uncle, but he's not that much older than me. Somebody slightly older than me. He was talking to me, and he started complaining about his son and his marriage and the problems he's been having in his home. And it was only, I thought it's only 3 o'clock, and I I don't think my day can get any better, right? It's one of those days, but this is the thing, we have issues happening in our community. When this society was formed, why was it formed? It was formed because people saw there was a need. There's a need in our community. We need to do something. It's our responsibility, not anyone else's. No one's going to come in and do it for us. We're going to do it ourselves. So they were responding to the needs of their time. Fast forward 50 years, we've got a lot of issues. And we're going to have even more issues in the future if you're paying attention to what's actually happening in the world. For that to happen, we need to take responsibility. That, okay, our elders came from zero. I mean, the mosques that we have, the institutes we have, this society is running, that is from that generation. They were the people that thought of those things. They were the people that put the foundations down and made the sacrifices and left something behind. Now we've inherited it. It's been given to us, right? And now it's our job to say, right, they did their bit. Now it's time for me to step up. It's time for me to sacrifice a little bit of my time, a little bit of my energy, and do something so that when the next generation comes, they will praise us and say, you don't do it for that reason, but they'll be thankful that, and from our elders, there were people that cared about the future. They cared about us. So we have to now step up. It's time for my generation to step up, to come forward and say, I'm ready to sacrifice some of my time. I'm ready to give whatever skills Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me. If you look at the community, and if they all sat down, if everyone sat down and wrote down 5 skill sets they've got, right, and you put it all together, you'd be amazed how much skill there is in the community. But that's not being utilised. That's not being utilised, and this is where I'm going to be. Forgive me, my style's a bit more direct. I just think that, look, time is short. We've not got time to faff about. We've not got time to sugarcoat things. They are what they are. And we, in terms of our community, need to wake up. Our organisations need to step up to the challenges of the time we're living in, right? When our elders came, they didn't have the language skills, any of these things. However, they were doing amazing things in their 30s and 40s. In their 30s and 40s, they were running organisations. And I think one of the issues, and forgive me if I offend anyone, but one of the issues I feel that's happened is, and I've said this to my elders as well, that look, when you were my age, you were running the community. But what's happened is you've stayed for 20, 30 years, and you've done a great job, but you now need to allow the next generation to step up. Otherwise, we will never learn. We need to learn as well. We need to step up. We need to use our time and energy as well. So, there's a reason why, if you look at any government, just look at the United States, right, the most powerful country in the world. How long can a president maximum serve for? 8 years, maximum. Why is that system there? If you look at the prime ministers in this country, they might go 10 years, Tony Blair or something, or Margaret Thatcher 11 years, but eventually they have to change. Why do they have this change? Because things get stale. Any organisation, if it just stays with the same people, the same ideas, it will not progress. There has to be, we have to look at our organisations and say, there's so many people in the community, give other people a chance. You do your 10 years, you do whatever it is, put a maximum limit on it, and let other people come in. It shouldn't be the same people doing the same things all the time. I go to many organisations, I see the same faces. Where's the rest of the community? And it's not because I don't think the community doesn't have the skill set, doesn't have the potential, or the intelligence, or anything. They do. But you have to make a space for these people. You have to say, come on board, Bismillah, we'll help you, we can guide you, but it's now your time. We've done our bit, it's now time for you guys. So my message to my generation, the younger guys, younger sisters as well, is that we need to step up. We need to now take what we've inherited from our elders, and we salute them for what they've done for us. I mean, it's probably impossible to replicate ever again because of the people they were. But we have to now do the exact same thing they did. We need to sacrifice some of our time and effort and build for this era that we're living in, the challenges we're living in. For my advice to the elders is that, yes, we love you, yes, we respect you. It's not from us, the person doesn't respect his elders or have mercy on the youth. So yes, we respect you, but you need to think of the bigger picture. The bigger picture. You need to allow these younger people in, by all means, mentor them, but step back, let them now run the show. Just the way you guys did it, let the next generation run the show, let them deal with the issues. And then, and as time goes on, time comes to, to pass, you pass on the baton. It's like that, the relay race. You run the 100 meters, you give the baton to the next person. They run 100 meters, you give the baton to the next person. One person doesn't run the 400 meters. Right? You need a fresh pair of legs. It's time to pass on that baton so that inshallah, and share your wisdom, but inshallah let them do it with their skill set, with their mind, with their understanding, with consultation with the community. And another thing is that we really need to start thinking about what are the needs. This society was addressing a need at the time. What are the needs of our time? Right? There's many projects that are happening in the community, and they're great projects, but really, is that addressing the needs of our time? Are they addressing the needs of these projects, addressing the needs of our time? Right? Has a proper consultation happened with the community to say, is this really what we need? Or maybe we should do this, or maybe we should do that. Mushawara, ashura, consultation is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. The Prophet ﷺ was told to consult the Sahaba. He could have said, you're the Prophet of Allah, you know better, why are you asking us? You get revelation, why are you asking us? But the Prophet ﷺ was teaching us, no, that I am a Prophet of Allah, I am the best of mankind ever to walk on this earth. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded me to consult my companions, consult my Sahaba. And the Sahaba would then give their opinion. So it's not a dictatorship, we're a community. A community means we all step up, we all help one another. The Battle of Badr, the Prophet listened to the Sahabi who said, Ya Rasulullah, this is not the best place to stop. Stop where the wells are. Good idea. You're right. Let's go to the wells. And that's the spirit we should have. That we don't know who's got, who will come up with what gem. But if we consult one another, if we get the community involved, if we have consultation, the government consults, for God's sakes. When the government wants to put a legislation in, they consult, don't they? Consultations. They consult the populace. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? We need to get back to that spirit of shura and not dictatorship. Shura, where we get people, we talk to the community, we listen to the community. It's not just like, okay, we'll do a little event, we'll give them the impression we're listening, and we'll just do our own thing. We've already made the decision beforehand. Right? No. The spirit of shura has to be revived. We have to do community consultation so that our projects are addressing the proper needs of this generation and what's going to happen in 5 years, what's going to happen in 10 years. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslim kathir.